In this video, we will discuss communication that is the glue for your smart home. In a smart home, you end up with different devices that talk in different languages. I have some RF outlets, Bluetooth lights, a Zigbee switch, and a bunch of my own design multi-sensor and other IoTs. It would be super inefficient for home automation to keep track of all the devices, and it wouldn't scale at all. At this stage, MQTT protocol comes into rescue. It's also known as Mosquitto, which would make sense shortly. Now, this is not a technical video, so I'll keep this explanation relatively simple. MQTT is a lightweight publish-subscribe messaging protocol designed for M2M, that's machine-to-machine telemetry in low-bandwidth environment. It was designed by Andy Stanford Clark from IBM and Arlen Nipper in 1999 when they needed a reliable and scalable way to connect oil pipeline telemetry systems over satellite. Although it started as a proprietary protocol, it was released royalty-free in 2010 and became an OSI standard in 2014. MQTT stands for MQ Telemetry Transport, but previously was known as Message Queuing Telemetry Transport. The protocol usually runs over TCP/IP. However, any network protocol that provides ordered, lossless, bidirectional connection can support MQTT. Information is organized in a hierarchy of topics. When a publisher has a new item of data to distribute, it sends a control message with the data to the connected broker. The broker then distributes that information to any clients that have subscribed to that topic. The publisher does not need to have any data on the numbers or locations of subscribers, and subscribers, in turn, do not have to be configured with any data about the publishers. If a broker receives a message on a topic for which there are no current subscribers, the broker just discards the message unless the publisher of the message designated the message as a retained message. A minimum MQTT control message can be as little as 2 bytes of data and can also carry nearly 256 megabytes if needed. So the broker acts as a post office. MQTT does not use the address of an intended recipient, but uses the subject line called topic. And anyone who wants a copy of that message will subscribe to that topic. Multiple clients can receive the message from a single broker, that's one-to-many capabilities. Similarly, multiple publishers can publish topics to a single subscriber, that's many-to-one. Each client can both produce and receive data by both publishing and subscribing, i.e., the devices can publish censored data and still be able to receive the configuration information or control commands. Remember, MQTT is a bidirectional communication protocol. This helps in both sharing data, managing and controlling devices. MQTT uses transport layer security, encryption with username, password-protected connections, and optional certifications that require clients to provide a certificate file that matches with the server. In a nutshell, the main advantage of MQTT broker are 1. Eliminates vulnerable and insecure client connections. 2. Can easily scale from a single device to thousands of devices. 3. Manages and tracks all client connection states, including security credentials and certificates. 4. Reduce network strain without compromising the security, either in cellular or satellite network. Well, that was a brief explanation of MQTT. Now, as mentioned earlier, client can both produce and receive data. That is the key. You might have seen the other videos in this channel on how to make devices smart for home automation. There should be some links floating around right now. On one of them, we understand how to control a RF outlet programmatically. And I think I said something along the lines of, my services wait for my command and then sends the correct RF code. And how that really worked is, when I press my light icon in Home Assistant, it sends a message to MQTT broker at a specified topic. My service would be listening to that topic and act accordingly. Similarly for sensors, it can publish its value to a topic, which then is displayed in Home Assistant, and obviously can be used for automation. To make this configuration simpler, Home Assistant supports auto-discovery. The idea is, a device would broadcast its capabilities under a specified topic. This broadcast would also have all the inputs the device can handle. To see how the topics and messages look, I'll be using a free portable software called MQTT Explorer. It's a Windows-only program, so if you're using OS X or Linux, you'll just need to find an alternative. Once I connect with my credentials and saying that I want to subscribe to the root level topic, all topics are created in a tree hierarchy and root is the very beginning. With that, we would see all the current messages in broker. First topic we will look at is AD. That's my auto discovery node and nothing to do with active domain. Har har, a NAR joke there, and we wonder why we were mostly single. Under AD, we see 4 topics. These are component types for Home Assistant. We will talk about organizations later. Now under switch, let's look at my multi-sensor IoT1. This has 2 relays, i.e. 2 outlets that can be controlled. It also has a buzzer, which to me in sense behaves like a switch. Finally, under 1, we see the actual data. The final topic address for this configuration is add/switch/IoT1/1/config, and it contains a message. In that result, most values are optional, but in my coding, I like to give it a lot more details. The only 3 required values in this case is an unique ID, stat_t, which is a shorthand for state topic, and cmd_t, which is a shorthand for command topic. With this configuration, Home Assistant can display a switch where the current status is read from the state topic. And when we click the switch, it would send that request to the command topic given. Next, let's look at sensor, and again for IoT1. So this device has 5 types of sensor result. To keep the chatter low, I use shorthand when possible. So instead of spelling temperature, I use T. As you can see, configuration is very similar to switch. There is no command topic as the sensor doesn't take any input. It tells us where to get the state value, i.e. detected temperature, and how to read and format the display. This IoT is running my code, and that code is responsible for setting this up. At the same time, I send my current firmware version that is useful to keep track of. For light, I have MQTT handler to control 2 Bluetooth lights. So obviously it needs a command topic to control. Also the capabilities tells Home Assistant if the colors of light can be controlled, if there is a brightness setting, if it supports color temperature, and even if it supports any effects. There will be a video available soon on how to use a Bluetooth light with your smart home, and in that video, I will show how to create unlimited effects if you wanted. Finally, binary sensor. As the name suggests, these sensors have only 2 states, on or off, open or closed, lit or dark, and so on. My multi-sensor detects motion, window status, and if the room has enough light. These are all binary. Just like sensor, this doesn't have any command topic. Oh, one quick thing to clarify. The sensor and binary sensor doesn't have a command topic because in my circuit design and in my code, I didn't find any use for it. In case you're wondering about this weird naming under switch, well, it's my only Zigbee switch right now. MQTT is my bridge between my smart home and Zigbee protocol. As you can see, this one doesn't use shorthand notation like the one I wrote. Only in your auto discovery topic, the next level that defines the component has to be set that way. Apart from that, there is really no right or wrong way of topic organization. You may choose to create the state topic based on the device, where all the states for that device is underneath, which makes it super easy to see at a glance what the device have. However, I like to organize mine under component type. That makes it easier for me to see what binary sensor or sensor states I might have. Super simple result for binary. In motion configuration, IoT1 specified this address as a state. So there is no motion right now, but enough light in that room. For sensor, I have my states topic optimized for my circuit. For example, one single hardware sensor and one part of code that returns me both humidity and temperature. Based on those two values, I'm calculating a comfort level, which is a description. Our configuration already specified how to parse this value. So for HT, you see one line of result that is in JSON format, again my choice, that has all these three values plus a timestamp for my debugging. Switch is same as binary sensor in my case, as it just has two states. I have set the topic set under devices for all commands. Now remember IoT1 in auto discovery told Home Assistant where to send the send command to. That IoT itself would be listening to that topic. You can see I have sent a request of relay1 to be off at that command topic. When IoT1 gets it, it did exactly that. That request was sent by Home Assistant when I pressed my light icon. I also have some other debug info like when the device restarted, that's birth. Ping is when it last broadcasted itself to be alive and well. Zigbee to MQTT is the bridge between, well, Zigbee and MQTT. Well, that was a lot of information. And thankfully, you will not need most of them. Supposing all your devices are broadcasting their capabilities, in which case, you just need to tell Home Assistant where this auto discovery topic is. I'm using a manual configuration, and hopefully you should see it on your screen now. So a total of 14 minutes video to summarize it in one line. Way to go. Well, to be honest, we did understand how this whole MQTT and auto discovery works though. Finally, about the broker itself. In my case, I have a private broker running, but it can be much easier than that. If you're running Home Assistant, it supports a Mosquitto MQTT broker add-on, which means you can set up that broker within Home Assistant in just a couple of clicks. Well, that's all for this video. Hopefully it was educational and happy home automation!